Okay, this is an update on the update, which I updated after my last update. The camp, as you saw back in the last update, was still surrounded by snow, looking very bare. Well, as you can see now, just a few weeks later, the foliage has grown up all around the camp, and now it actually looks a bit more homely. Not much has changed since the last update, really. I'm just trying different configurations of things. Like I said, there's the cook station with all the bits and pieces on it. This, for people who don't know, is a fairly permanent camp. It's on my own land, so we can get down there any time we like. I turned the bed round because it gives me more room in the shelter. It's still just inside the cover, and that bit of rain we get drips off that edge, so that's fine. It's nice and dry in there, so we haven't got to worry about that. The camping couch over there, I found a nice little seat cushion to go on it. Everything makes life a little bit nicer. I don't have to carry any of this stuff, so that's why there's so much stuff here. Obviously, when I'm out and about backpacking, or if I drive off into the woods to do something, I'll take a lot less gear. Probably just what you see here, which is my basher with the hammock below. A couple of things I've tried with this hammock, because it's a DD Hammocks clone. I put a long stick across the top to stretch out the net. You'd be surprised how much difference that makes in the headroom. You can see it's just held up with little strings, so if anything happens, the string breaks before the bug net does. And very cosy it is too. And I think I've solved the problem of the underquilt. Being springtime, it's not too cold, but it can get a bit nippy, and as anyone who knows, with these hammocks you do get cold underneath where the wind blows and your sleeping bag or whatever is compressed. Well, I've ordered up a US Army poncho liner, which is a thin, very warm blanket. Anyone who knows what they are knows what they are. You can see them on eBay. They're about $10–15, something like that. And I figure I can use that as an underquilt, and yet it'll still pack down nice and small. So that's how I'm going to get away with not having a cold bum and a cold back. Haven't lit the fire yet. Didn't need to. It's nice and hot. I went and cheated, and I bought some of these. I can make them, but for $2, what's the point? Little ticky lamps. Now they've got a little wick in the top, and they take lamp oil, paraffin basically, and they give quite a nice light in the camp at night. So I've got one over there by the camping couch, super sized, and one over here just to give me light at both ends of the camp. The fire, when it's lit, will obviously give more light, and I've got some things to put in here if I want more light, but usually I don't bother. I quite like it dim. There's a little stockpile of firewood down there, some heavy duty rope. The 550 cord is good, but somehow psychologically the big fat rope always feels stronger, even though it's probably not as strong as 550 cord, but what can you do? I like to have belt and braces, me. Not a lot else to say really. Got a radio for if I get too quiet. Cook pot. Usual bits and pieces hung up there, you know. Another basher just stuffed in there. Tea and coffee, just cause. Citronella candles, again, just cause. A couple of the old stoves that we make. Anyone on eBay, anyone on YouTube seen those? You can make those very quickly, very easily, and they work very well. So there we go. The camp, looking out from the shelter. You see, I've got to say, it's a lovely spot. And as you can hear, nice and quiet. Nice and quiet. And yet, like I've said before, you look up there, the house is only 100 yards away. So, if it all goes horribly wrong, I can always run home screaming like a little girl. The tarp is still up through all the wind and rain on the bivvy sticks that I made. Now, someone asked me, do the trees have to be that close together to use that method to put your tarp up? And the idea is no, you don't. It's very handy this way because I've got no strings. But if the trees were further apart, all I would do is run a line from the tarp to the log or the stick or whatever it is, and tension it from that. So these can actually be any distance apart that you want. And then of course the tarp will stay up, and you don't need guy lines when it's like this. This is why I like this setup. All I've got is a bungee around here, but this could just as easily be paracord or whatever. Oh, look at little ants, aren't they lovely? And it's just to hold it from sliding up the tree. But once you've got the tension on, these things do hold quite well. And like I said, they are very strong. They've survived the winds, and they've got enough give in them that if it should really blow, then it's not going to tear anything. But like I said, if you want to use this method, but your trees are further apart, say they were over there where my log stack is, then all you do is run a line from your bivvy to your stick and tension it that way, and it works exactly the same way. So you'll have a guy line free arrangement. And like I said, you can put your hammock higher up in, and if you want a sharper angle on your tarp, you just use a shorter stick, and that will give you a sharper angle. But I quite like that one. It works quite well, keeps the wind out, keeps the rain off. And like I said, if it is really violent, you may have seen in one of my other ones, you can stick another tarp over the ridge and hang it down and peg it to the ground, as you've seen in my other update, and that will then keep you nice and snug. Apart from that, like I said, this is my little, well, I'd say it's a semi-permanent permanent shelter. This is where I come to practice and spend some time without having to trek and pack up and go miles. It's always nice to know that I can do all the things I need to do if I go in the bush, but I can practice anything new here, or I can just come down of an evening, spend some time chilling out, feeling like I'm a million miles away from everywhere. And like I said, unless you look backwards at the house, you do feel like you're a million miles away, because you look around, it's just woodland. Those lumps you see in the tree there are stacks of wood that my lovely lady, when she's walking about, puts up in the trees to keep them off the ground so nice and dry. Now, that's quite a good tip if you are collecting firewood, you think it might rain. Find a tree close to the camp, stack your sticks in there, and they're up off the ground. So if it does get wet, it drains down, and of course you can store quite a lot of firewood all within a couple of seconds walk from your camp. Look at this, you see? So there you are, there's a handy hint for you. Apart from that, there we go, the camp. Well, there's a little trail I cut through, and I've got some more posts there which I'm going to make a lean-to wall, probably either along the back here to close off this side, or it might go from the end of the shelter to the tree. Not quite worked it out yet, but I think from here to here would be good, just to close off this back edge. Anyway, that's the update for the update, to show you that the camp isn't quite as barren as you think it looks in the winter scenes. It does actually grow up quite amazingly. So there we are. Thanks for looking. See you later. Happy camping.